Station. This is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
We are ready for the event.
ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear. How us?
I got you loud and clear as well. Please stand by for opening remarks.
Hello and welcome. We are Topeka Public Schools and Whitson Elementary. I am Mrs. Keelan Pierce, the principal. And now for your first question.
Hi, my name's Ray. Is space as beautiful as it looks from Earth?
Oh, wow. The Earth is beautiful on Earth, and Earth is absolutely beautiful from space. It's tough to compare the two. They're both unique in both their ways, but Earth is amazingly beautiful both in space and on the Earth.
Hi, I'm Pro. What training do you have to do to become an astronaut?
Well, Pearl, we have to do many things. We're students just like you are, and we have to learn all about the spacecraft that we'll be living on, the spacecraft that we launch on, all of the cargo ships. We have to learn all about the systems and how they fly. Also, we have to learn how to do maintenance. We have to learn how to do spacewalks. We have to learn how to do robotics. We have to learn how to be doctors to some degree on board in case somebody gets hurt. We have to learn how to, what else, Matthew?
So many things, like flying in space. Like you saw one of our crewmates came fly here. We practiced that underwater in the pool for getting ready for spacewalks. We trained for years and years and years, and then we come back on Earth and do it again.
Hi, my name is Jack. Do you think that in our lifetime anyone would be able to live on Mars, and how?
Jack, short answer, absolutely yes. But we have a lot of little steps to get there. Just like you in school, you take lots of little steps to learn complicated things. As humans, we're going to take lots of little steps to live on Mars. And it starts with here on the International Space Station at 240 miles from the Earth. We're learning to live and work in space. We've been doing that for 20 years up here to get continuously. The next step is the moon. The moon is 1,000 times more. In fact, the moon is 240,000 miles away, and we're working to do that on the Artemis program. And then we're working to go to Mars. And Mars is another 1,000 times away. At its furthest point from Earth, Mars is 240 million miles away. So little teeny steps along the way, and hopefully by the time in a couple of years you're going to get to watch us go to the moon, and then you'll come join us on Mars.
Hi, I'm Hudson. Since you orbit the Earth many times each day, how does your body adjust to eating and sleeping as the light changes?
Hudson, that's a really good question. We actually have a schedule. And it doesn't make a difference whether the sun is up or the sun is down, although it does it about 16 times while we are awake or as we go through a full day, as we say. And so we just go, we go according to the clock. And the clock that we live by here on board this International Space Station is GMT, or Greenwich Mean Time. And so all of the control centers work around the clock, and they help us get through our day from the morning until we go to bed, and when we get back up in the next day, do it all over again. But we do have some really beautiful windows that we can go to see the sunrise, see the sunset, see what the Earth looks like when the sun's shining on it, when the moon's out. And that gives us a sense for daylight and nighttime. But on board, it's basically the clock.
Hi, I'm Brock. What does your daily schedule look like in space? What types of things do you do every day, and are they fun?
Well, it's pretty cool up here that our work is fun, and it's fun to work up here. There's so many different things, so it's kind of blurred between what is work and what we do for fun. A lot of times they're the same thing. Our daily schedule is awesome to me because it's different every single day. You know, you wake up and our teams on the ground have put together an incredible plan from around the world of what we might do. Like, for example, today I got to put together a launcher that's going to launch satellites in a couple days. It's going to launch little baby satellites out into space. Tomorrow I might be doing experiments, all kinds of crazy things. And then I get to go look out the window and take pictures. So there is no regular day up here for us other than waking up, eating, and doing our job. It's pretty awesome.
Hello, my name is Sayer Taggart, and I'm with the Aviation Explorers Post 8. My question is, how long does it take your body to readapt to the gravity of the Earth after your mission?
Well, I like your question, Sawyer, because soon we'll be all returning back to Earth, and we'll be living out the answer to that question. But it basically depends on how long you've been in microgravity. And if you were up for my first flight, I was up on board for about 2 weeks. And coming back, I was a little dizzy, but it didn't take me long at all to recover. On my second mission, when I lived on board the station for 6 months, coming back took a little bit longer. About 10 days to 15 days is about how long it takes for your vestibular system to get back to normal, and for your body to start to adapt to the gravity again. And that takes a little bit of coordination. It takes some strength exercises, and really just walking in a straight line can be a challenge, but really good question.
Hi, I'm Molly. How do you tell direction in space without a compass?
Well, funny you bring up compass. We had some magnets on space station, and the other day we actually had a compass. We made a rudimentary compass. We were floating it around, and we were watching it orient with Earth's gravitational field. And in fact, we do have actual compasses on the space station. They're called magnetometers, and we use them to get the initial, to kind of figure out kind of where the space station's pointing. And then we use more precise things like star trackers that look at stars, global positioning systems that measure how far we are away from other satellites, and we're able to figure out where we are and where we're pointed. So we have lots of really cool instruments up here, and it's an entire system we call the motion control system that detects where we are and tells us where to go.
Hi, I'm Macy. Who or what inspired you to pursue a career in space exploration?
Well, Macy, it was none other than a teacher. It was Krista McAuliffe who was the first teacher to go into space. And I was in high school at the time. She was about to fly. And at that time of my life, I spent more time with my teachers than I did my own parents. And so it was a teacher who actually inspired me to become an astronaut. What about you, Matthew?
Oh, so many people inspired, from teachers along the way to my parents, to my family. Like, just so many people along the way inspired me to become an astronaut. It wasn't one individual person. And then obviously I was my background was going into flight test and testing airplanes, and so I was always looking up to those that were testing airplanes in the 50s and 60s and 70s time era.
Hi, my name is Juan, and my question is, how do you steer the International Space Station?
That's a great question. Most of the time, we're actually not really actively steering. Our thrusters, our rocket engines aren't firing. We're in a very, very high part of the atmosphere. It's very, very thin, and so we're able to just keep going around the Earth essentially constantly in free fall. Every now and then, we do need to fire our rocket engines because the space station is so big, and there are little pieces of the atmosphere out there that are, air that's slowing us down. So every now and then, in fact, in a couple days, we're going to fire our rocket engines to boost the space station back up into a little bit farther away from Earth. And then for steering, we actually have some gyroscopes that we're able to move that steer the whole, big old gyroscopes, big, massive gyroscopes that steer the space station. And we have little teeny rocket engines that fire to keep the space station pointing in the correct direction.
Hi, my name is Beckett Krieger. My question is, what experiment have you done that was the most exciting while on the space station?
Well, hey, Beckett. It's hard to say just one. because and the most exciting could have different facets to it. So one that I thought was really exciting was Astrobee, where we have these robots on board the space station, and they are named after different types of bees. And the way that they operate on board the space station is through computer programming that is done by students. And so we astronauts get to help operate and set up these robots to fly, and then we get to monitor them as they fly out the code that the students write. And I think that's pretty exciting because so many hands have touched that experiment, so to speak. So it's one of the most exciting, I think.
Hi, my name is Jessica. My question is, where do you sleep in outer space?
We get to sleep in sleeping bags. It's like we're camping. There's a room. Each of us has our own room, and it's about this big, a little bit bigger than us, about that big of a room that we get to sleep in. And inside of that, we have a sleeping bag that we get into, and it ties us down and keeps our arms from floating up like this, and we get to sleep in there. So it's pretty awesome. We each have our own 4 little rooms and go to sleep every night.
Hi, my name's Noah, and my question is, can plants go in space?
Nora, yes, plants can grow in space, and we have a couple of experiments going on right now that are growing plants. And we have some grasses that we are growing, and then we have some that we have put in little containers, and we're looking at the effects of UV light and how the plant grows. It's a really fascinating type of experiment to do up here.
Hi, my name is Elena, and my question is, can you have ice in your drinks in space?
Well, we do have freezers, but no, we don't get to have ice in our drinks. We actually have little drink bags like this that we put all our drinks in. This is a fruit punch, and the best part about it is you can make little spheres of water, and you get to drink like this. But you don't get to have ice.
My name is Amar.
Tracy
question
gets one.
is, if you have an emergency or issue on the space station, what is your backup plan?
Oh, we have so many backup plans for everything. Our mission control centers around the planet have put together so many plans for so many backup plans and backup plans to backup plans, and we train to recover from them. A couple of months ago, we had an issue where there was a piece of space debris that was floating around, and we thought it might hit the space station, so we quickly executed our task. We all went to our little spacecraft and got ready to undock from the space station in case we got hit by space debris. We're prepared for fires or losing air, like if air was to escape from the space station, or toxic chemicals. We train all the time and we practice all the time to be ready for those contingencies. But we have backup plans for backup plans for backup plans.
Hi, my name is Eli Holcomb. What is the strangest thing that you've experienced in space?
This guy. No, I'm just kidding. No, no, I think the strangest thing that I've experienced on this mission was during a spacewalk. We were in the preparation phase. Once we had evacuated the crew lock, I was with my partner, Mike, and my umbilical had sprung a leak with water, and in part of the recovery from that, there was water that had formed on my glove, and it formed an ice pack, and essentially my hand started to freeze through the glove, and it was one of the strangest feelings I've ever had because I didn't know at the time what was going on. Plus, my visor had frosted over from water spraying on it, and so that was one of the strangest things I've ever experienced. But with the help from the team and my crewmates, we got back in safely, and well, I guess you could call that one of our emergencies as well. So, but all is well.
Hi, my name is Anna from Kansas, and my question is, what kind of emergency training do astronauts have?
So much emergency training, and it's good for us. It's good for our training. But we start on the ground. We learn to be able to take care of the space station. You have to understand how it works. So to be prepared for emergency the same way. We start by studying all the systems of the space station and understanding how they work and how they interwork with each other. And then that way we know if a certain system fails or has a problem. Oh, and we have a book. We have a big old book of just emergencies. And that's just the big time emergencies, the big ones. We have computer file after computer file of all the little contingencies and other problems that could go wrong with the space station. So the first step is to learn how the space station works, and then the second step is how to respond when it breaks.
Hi, I'm Grace. When an individual is at the International Space Station, what thoughts come to mind when viewing the Earth?
Well, Grace, too many to count, actually, but to give you an example of the kind of thoughts that I've had as I look out the window at the Earth is just how delicate it really looks from space. It's not just that you see no borders except those that divide land from water, snow from desert, but also because it's this beautiful, luscious planet in the middle of the blackest black you've ever seen in your entire life. And it seems like the black goes on forever. And so it's, and those evoke a lot of thoughts in someone depending on what they think of when they think of home. But also looking at our own space station, I think there's a lot of awe and wonder as we just think about what it takes for us to actually live on board this International Space Station.
Hi, my name is Elena. My question is, how long have you been in space in the space station?
Crew 8, our crew has been up here since early March, and about 5 months for all of us, and we've got another month to go, so about 6 months, and that's what we generally do. We have crews come up for 6 months, and then a new crew will come up, and they'll have a couple days, maybe a week to 2 weeks, where we're all up here together. It's a big zoo of people, and then the older crew goes home. So we're getting ready to go home here in about a month, right after the new crew launches up here to space.
Hi, my name is Corbin, and my question is, can you guys watch TV in space?
Hey, Corbin, we watch a form of TV, but it's not as real-time as what you might have at home, although it just keeps on, things just keep improving up here, and so we do have internet, and we can watch videos somewhat real-time as they're created, but we're limited by our coverage of satellites. So we have to have connection to satellites, and that's not 100% all the time, and so it's a little limited, but we do get to watch TV in a sense.
Hi, my name is Sela, and my question is, what do you like about living in outer space?
I love so many things about living in space. I could go on for a while, but I love flipping and flying. Like you saw just a second ago, one of my crewmates came flying through here, or even earlier he came flying that way. A lot of times I have to go that way to get something, and Tracy's going to do a flip for us, like she's walking on the ceiling. I just love the fact that I can come through the lab. This is our laboratory module, and I can fly straight through it, or I can flip straight through it. And so I just love flipping through the lab every single day to go get something. If I got to go get a tool, I can go float, or I can flip. I can do whatever I want. And so that's one of the things. There are so many things I love about being up here. Another one is I can live in my crew quarters, where I sleep every night, and I can get to work within 2 minutes. So I can wake up about 3 minutes before the day starts. We start our day with a meeting in the morning that we had talked to Mission Control, and I wake up about 3 to 5 minutes before that happens. Wake up, brush my teeth, and I'm out, and I'm at work within 5 minutes of waking up. So I really like that part.
Congratulations to the NASA team from Topeka Public Schools. We are so excited. So from the Whitson Warriors and the 13,000 students and parents, we are cheering you on. We want to congratulate you and thank you for showing us new careers that students can explore, from being astronauts to individuals working in the STEM area and the STEAM area. We are so excited to watch this journey along with you. So be safe and know that you have Topeka Public Schools and our entire community cheering you on.
We are so happy to be able to talk to you guys today and share just a small bit of everything we do up here, and we'd love to share what we do.
And we're super excited about the questions that you all asked. They're very interesting, insightful, and we hope that you enjoyed our answers, and that we'll see you up here in space, whether it's the International Space Station, the Moon, or Mars, in the years to come.
Station to Houston ACR, that concludes the event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio conference.